if I can record and stream at the same time. Cool. Again, name is Charlie Kuklins, a resident of the state of Minnesota, city of Eagan, chair of the Libertarian Party in Minnesota, at least for another month. We've got our convention coming up in April, so I encourage everybody to come out and help us. I'm excited not to be chair, I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of stuff that's gone on over the past year, and I think my skills are better utilized in helping to build the infrastructure for the state party, not being the spokesperson for the state party. So maybe eventually, maybe when I get comfortable enough to speak to people in big settings and rally people around things, then yeah, sure, I'll take a look at that if there's nobody who is more willing to do that. But actually, so this is kind of step one in that process of understanding how to rally people around issues that will affect us all. And one of the biggest issues right now that we've been dealing with is a Minnesota State Senate bill that was introduced by my state senator Jim Carlson, Senate District 52 in Minnesota, and it's a bill that changes the I'm going to pull it up for you here, that changes the designation for major party status in the state of Minnesota. Now let's get into why that matters. First of all, I'm going to pull up the bill, and you can all see for yourself what is going on. Senate File 1827, Minnesota. And here's the thing. This is. I would love for me to be wrong. I would love for me to be wrong on this, and I'm hoping somebody comes forward and tells me I'm wrong. Because if I'm right. If I'm right and this goes through, people, man, what are we doing here? Why are we allowing this to happen? So I'm going to get into what I see is going on, and hopefully raise some awareness for this. So this is current version as introduced. Senate File 1827, introduced by, here you go, Jim Carlson. He's my state senator, right here. Here's his map. So if you're in Senate District 52, right, here's his map. So Mendota Heights, all the way down south, almost the tip of Burnsville, a little piece of Burnsville here, precincts 10 and 6, but mostly Eagan, right? So mostly Eagan in Minnesota. And let me just kind of share with you what's going on. So I'm going to go back to the bill here and hopefully show the text of, where is it? You guys are going to ding me for not being able to navigate a web page, right? Yeah, pretty standard shit. Anyway, so what this does, this outlines what a major political party is in the state of Minnesota. Currently, let's just read over this. Major political party means a political party that maintains a party organization in the state, political division, or precinct in question, and that has presented at least one candidate for election to the office of governor and lieutenant governor. Okay, so this is a single race, but they run on the same ticket. Secretary of State, state auditor, attorney general. So realistically, there's 4 races that you can run in this. That's what this means. So has presented at least one candidate for election to the office of one of these 4 races, or presidential elector or U.S. senator. Okay, so those we know happens every 4 years. And whose candidate received votes in each county in that election and received votes from not less than 5 current, right? 5% of the total number of individuals who voted in that election. Well, they want to increase this to 10%, right? There's reasons for it, and we'll get into that in just a second when we deep dive into why this came about. But what I want to highlight is the reason that major political party status matters in the state of Minnesota. As it currently sits, here, we'll bring up the Secretary of State's website. Perfect. Secretary of State, Minnesota. Boom. I should have all these, prepared for you guys, and I'm sorry. I'm just kind of getting into this genre of publicizing what we do on the internet. Yes, I know I'm an old guy, and it is what it is. So, all right, elections and voting. Well, there's one that says become a candidate. So let's go here. And how do I become a candidate, right? Yeah, I'm going to get dinged on. You're the chair of a political party and you don't have all this stuff already? Yeah, no, I get it. I've looked at this stuff over and over. I'm just now publicizing it. So let's get into this. Elections and voting, election administration, become a candidate. See, I knew it was there somewhere. So stop. All right, candidate filing, qualifications. Blah, 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 major party status. Here's all of the qualifications, right, to run for office in the state of Minnesota. Cool. Candidate filing locations, candidate filing periods. All right, this is now we get into something interesting. So here's the candidate filing periods, right? What you'll see next is filing fees, right? So, filing fees. In order to file a notice of candidacy in the state of Minnesota, this is what you'll have to do. If you want to file for U.S. Senator, $400. U.S. Representative, $300. $300 for any of the statewide races, judges, state senator. $100. You have to file $100 for a state representative. All right, state representative. Now, what they don't tell you is that just filing the fee doesn't get you on the ballot unless you are running under a major party. Just want you to be aware of that. If you are running under a major party, sure, here's the filing fee and you're done. Guess what? Minor parties, you still have to fill out the filing fee. Now, candidate petitions. Oh, yeah, you can file a petition in place of the filing fee, right? In order to do that, here's the number of signatures that you would need to get in your district. So let's talk about the lowest level state legislative office, right? Gaining 500 signatures, which sounds okay, right? It sounds okay, but I just filed $100 and go for it, right? Just file the $100 and hey, you're in. Just pay the fee. And then you don't have to go out and collect signatures for major parties. Minor parties, on the other hand, would have to go out and collect the signatures, right? Here, am I zooming in on this? Can you guys see this? Hopefully everybody can see this. Minor parties, on the other hand, will go out and collect petitioning signatures, right? Which we did. We've gone out. We've done it. It's time consuming and it sucks. And it's a pain in the ass. So go out, collect your signatures for 500 signatures in your district that you're running for. Mine would be 52B, so Ruth Richardson, right? I want to ask Ruth, did you go out and collect 500 signatures or did you pay the $100 and just get your name on the ballot? So that's a curious question I would ask for Ruth. And I know the answer, right? She paid $100 because that's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer, right? So if I'm going to run for candidacy, which I'm not saying I am. I don't envy you guys that are doing this, but what I will promise is if I did, I would try to look into everything as much as possible, right? So let's just get into this, and this is the filing fees. The petition signatures, right? So let's take a look at this here. I want to see filing period. Yep. So state offices, candidate for state representative in any judicial office may file from May 21st, 2024 until June 14th, right? That's 15 days, people. 15 days to file for office. Now, this is where they're going to get you. Minor political parties, or as an independent candidate, right? The nominating petition must be presented to the filing officer during the filing period. All signatures must be obtained during the filing period. So what they're saying is, in this 2-week window right here, from May 21st through June 4th, in this 2-week period, if you are filing to run as a candidate for a minor party or an independent, you need to go out and collect the required signatures for the race that you're running in a 2-week period. Now, all of the people that are supposedly signing these need to be in the district that you are running. So, fair enough. Okay. Here's the other thing. These petitions need to be filled out on 8.5 by 14 legal size paper. This is a nominating petition. All of these. So there's a nominating petition, there's a petition nominating, combined nominating and fee petition, right? So these need to be printed on legal size paper. We've had people submit signatures over the past few years that were on 8.5 by 11, and they've been removed. They don't satisfy the criteria. So the Secretary of State's office has gone out and said, look, they're not on our required legal size paper. We're not going to count them for your petitions. So, except for 2020. You know what happened in 2020, right? Hey, guys, we're all under COVID. We're going out to try and collect these signatures because we need to run candidates in a race. We don't have the option of just filing. So what does the Secretary of State do? They say, okay, yeah, we'll work with you here. We'll be okay, and you guys can collect electronic signatures. Gosh, all right, cool, great. Now we get to scramble and try and set up a pattern or the infrastructure to be able to manage electronic petition signatures. Yeah, cool. Maybe that's something the Secretary of State should undertake and say, oh, well, we're going to allow for electronic signatures. Here's your code for your race. Share it. Go get your signatures. Awesome. We tried to get the Secretary of State to do that, and he said, no, I was only able to do that under emergency authorization due to COVID restrictions. Fine. So here's the thing. It's not... Here's the hypocrisy, right? It's not a technical prohibitive thing for the Secretary of State. It's just a matter of they don't want to allow it going forward. If I'm wrong, these are not in. This is not legislation. This is not a legislative practice. This is not set up anywhere as a legislative practice. This is the Secretary of State's guidelines. And if I'm wrong, please correct me on that. Show me where the stipulations are in in our Minnesota legislature, in our laws, in our statutes. This is strictly a Secretary of State setting up what these are. I believe. Okay. So I want to get back to this bill. So they're basically saying that we're going to move it to 10% for you to qualify. Now, why are they doing this? They're doing this because legal marijuana now and grassroots legalized cannabis parties in 2018 satisfied the 5% criteria. They became major parties in the state of Minnesota. And there's a reason for it. Like, absolutely. They had the issue that, hey, we want to legalize marijuana in the state of Minnesota. And they've rallied and they became political parties, and they've pushed the agenda. And I congratulate them. Absolutely. Job well done on turning this conversation for legalizing marijuana and making it a statewide thing. The people have spoken. When they vote for these parties, they're saying, look, I believe that we should legalize marijuana in the state of Minnesota. And as a libertarian, I absolutely believe that we should legalize marijuana in the state of Minnesota. We should not be prohibiting people's availability towards a plant that they want to grow or consume. That's totally draconian and authoritarian to be able to say, hey, we're going to prohibit you from growing or consuming a plant. Blah, 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 bullshit. All you want is power. Yeah, I know I'm being reductive, and it's not a good look. So I'm getting better at it. I'm frustrated and furious with what people are doing today. So back to the topic at hand. Why do they want to limit major parties in the state of Minnesota? And we'll talk about why, and then I'll talk about some alternatives that they could do instead of pushing this bill. And the reason I'm raising awareness is because of the repercussions that this bill is going to have in the coming week. If you went to Ballotopedia, right? Let's look at Minnesota. And I want to know, I just want to know, in the state of Minnesota, I'm sorry, I got off track here. My mind's going a mile a minute. In the state of Minnesota, we have a public subsidy, right? Public electoral subsidy that candidates can qualify for to receive funds from a general elections fund to help them with their races. I'm sure you know that your tax dollars pay a portion of political races. Now, we can talk about the merits of that at a later date, but it is what it is right now, right? So, the basis for this is the evidence that has been supported. Senator Carlson, Representative, it's not Friedrich. Friedrich is the Elections Committee chair. I'll have to look at the companion bill. Here, let's look at the companion bill. Who's the authors? Oh God, I should have all this off the top of my head, but is what it is. I want to go back to version list, introduction, no, authors and status. Here's the companion text, House File 2802. Here's the companion. I believe it was Representative Frederick, right? Representative Frederick, along with Senator Jim Carlson, have put together these bills. So, just so you know, Mankato, we're talking to you too. So let's take a look at this. Representative Frederick and Senator Jim Carlson have brought evidence forward from a Reformer article by Pat Coolican. Let's see if we can find Pat. Pat Coolican. Cooligan, Reformer. I can't type. You know how you can't type when people are talking to you? All right. So Pat Coolican, I'd love to have a conversation with you as well. I would love it. So the evidence that's been brought forward is an article that Pat wrote regarding spoilers. So spoilers being pushed into Minnesota politics, right? And what they've brought forward. Hopefully, I can find the article. You see, all very left-leaning publication, which is fine. I have no problem with that. I know there has been. I should have this all freaking tabbed so I can do a really professional model of all this stuff, but honestly, I'm not a professional content creator. As a matter of fact, I just had to go to Micro Center to buy this microphone, because the microphone that my son gave me, his old microphone, doesn't really work. Like, the micro USB on it is all screwed up and it just doesn't sound good and blah, blah. And maybe I don't even sound good right now. I have no idea. You guys tell me, help me build this, right? So Patrick, let's see if we can search his website and be like, legalize marijuana now, right? Let's see. Immigrants must be an attempt. Yeah, that's a good one. DFL campaigns blunted by marijuana candidates. You see, okay, so this is awesome. DFL, okay, Max Nysteric, cool. Okay, so Pat maybe didn't write it. Max, I think I follow Max on stuff too. Marijuana legalization candidates may have played a decisive role in key races in Minnesota, potentially propelling Jim Hagedorn to re-election and helping Republicans maintain control of the state Senate. Although the DFL may end up eking out victories once more, absentee ballots are counted. So what's funny is the total just assumption that, Hagedorn, cool. Hagedorn overthrew this because the DFL didn't win because all this dark money came into GOP. That's some fucking bullshit. Okay, so the head of legal marijuana now party, Tim Davis, knows this. Republicans are the biggest problem in Minnesota. The Republicans are the only thing that has stopped it, and they will stop it again. Okay, the pot party's strong performance in Minnesota, however, had the opposite effect, helping ensure the defeat of the legalization movement in the state for at least another election cycle. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Now, guess what? The party did their job. They forced the conversation. And now the DFL is saying, yeah, let's get behind it so we can not do these major parties anymore. Cool. But now they're making it really hard to even become a major party in the state. So I get it. Like, I understand where they're coming from. They're going about it the wrong way, though, because us as a libertarian party, look, legalization marijuana now candidate scored above 5% in the U.S. Senate race, which is one of the thresholds for securing major party status for another 2 general elections, which would mean getting on the ballot without onerous Onerous signature gathering. You're telling me that there is onerous signature gathering that has to happen in the state of Minnesota. You're calling it out right there. Both parties will have major party status in 2022. Absolutely. So here's my problem. The fact that parties got major party status is not the problem here. The problem is, what do they do with that party status, right? Realistically, if major party status were to be achieved by any third party in the state of Minnesota, to get on the ballots, you should have a convention. You should have a convention, just like the GOP, just like the DFL, let's say, right? Go to convention, nominate your candidates, get them on the ballot, pay the fee, and get them on the ballot. Cool. I say if there's a minor party, even major parties in the state, you should have ballot access to be able to get on the ballot. If you're actually a minor or major party, you're on the ballot, right? If you were elected at convention, go ahead. You should be on the ballot. Elected convention, major parties should be withheld to the primaries. We pay for them in the state of Minnesota. We pay for them. So run them through a primary. They're now part of the major party system. You should have a primary and nominations at convention. But neither of these two parties did that. At least the grassroots legalized cannabis didn't. I know that. Because Oliver Steinberg is out here claiming that the reason that they had no recourse for who ran for their governor candidate, was because they didn't have support, or they're a spoiler, or whatever bullshit Oliver wants to throw out there. And hey, Oliver, I'm willing to have a conversation with you too. Come out, let's talk about why you think this bill is going to change what is happening in Minnesota politics. And I know you're going to say it doesn't solve it, because you've said it in your testimony at the Senate Elections Committee, and you said it in your testimony at the House Elections Committee. This bill does not fix the problem. It's in your testimony. You said it yourself. But Representative Frederick and Senator Carlson still want to parade you around as if you're in support of this. Please make it make sense. I'm asking you to help me understand why you would go out there, push this bill, and then in your testimony state that it doesn't solve the problem. And you know what? What's funny is I'm going to pull up the video from the chair of the House Elections Committee, Representative Freiberg, and just listen to him say, well, thank you, Oliver Steinberg, for mostly supporting this bill. I was in the audience. I sat there. I listened to it, and I said, are you kidding me? You have one person testifying in support of this bill, and then identifying in real time that he's mostly in support of this bill. Mostly in support of this bill. You're going to lay it over in the House Elections Committee so it can be included in an omnibus package that's going to include ranked choice voting. This bill is not going to get any discussion on the House floor when it's overshadowed by ranked choice voting. Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me right now? I hope Representative Richardson, I'm asking you if you will have a conversation with me about what is happening. about this. Please, please, please take 15 minutes to do some research and listen to what I'm saying. I'm trying to provide all the evidence in this video, but I would appreciate it if you took the time to just educate yourself a little bit on what's happening. So anyway, I know I went down a road there. 2022 elections. 2022 elections in the state of Minnesota. I'm curious. I know I saw it on here before Ballotopedia. Let's check Tim Walz, right? And let's look at campaign finance. So Ballotopedia has some campaign finance stuff in here. Cool. All right, powered by Transparency USA. Let's go to Transparency USA, and let's look at the state of Minnesota. All right. This is all public information. I'm not doing anything special here. It's just come to our attention that this is what's happening, and we're trying to bring it to the light. We're trying to get people to understand. So let's look at this. Top contributors, view all contributors. Okay, so the top contributors in the state of Minnesota in the 22 elections. Okay, aggregated unitemized contributions, $30 million. Yep. So those are PACs, those are whatever. Safe, accessible, fair elections federal. Okay, $3.3 million contributed. Alita Messinger. Hello, the Rockefellers. The Rockefeller family. I hope I'm not pushing anything out here, but public information. You've put $3 million into the 2022 elections in the state of Minnesota. So, cool. Republican Attorneys General Association, $2.6 million. This is what I'm looking for here. You can go through and look at all this stuff and see, who contributed more. J.B. Pritzker, I don't know who you are, but maybe I should. I have no clue. Who's J.B. Pritzker? DGA Victory Fund. Tim Walz for governor. Sure. What's DGA Victory Fund? Oh, now I'm going down more of this shithole. You guys, J.B. Pritzker. Anyway, all right. I'll get into that further on down the line. So, all right. This is my my inexperience showing. All right, so let's get to this public subsidy. Public subsidy in the state of Minnesota. All right, cool. $2.3 million. What the evidence that Representative Frederick and Senator Jim Carlson have put out there. And Jim, I live 2 blocks away from you, bro. Let's go have coffee. Let's go have a glass of wine. Let's do something. Let's talk about this. Because I think you're going down the wrong path, and I don't want to be adversarial. I don't want to. God, I don't want to be on a live. I don't want to be a content creator. I don't want to do this shit. But you're forcing me to, because the people of Eagan need to understand. The people of Minnesota need to understand what you're doing and why. And I think you need to be held accountable for this. I think you need to explain to the people why you're doing this. And I'm just going to call out, because in your testimony when you did, you're going to go, oh, I already did in my testimony. Yeah, let's call out the testimony, because you said that in order to be good stewards of the public subsidy, we need, that's the reason you're doing this, is because we need to be good stewards of the public's funding for elections. Good stewards. What does that mean? Let's quantify this, right? Let's quantify it. $2.3 million of public subsidy funds went into the 2022 elections. 584,000 of that was Scott Jensen. 146,000 Keith Ellison. So let's not even talk about. Okay, these are all statewide races. I get it. Like, hey, it's crazy expensive to run a statewide race. Crazy expensive, unless you've got big people backing you. I don't know, like J.B. Pritzker, or what's her name? Messinger, the Rockefellers, right? Unless you got them in your back pocket, I mean, shit. Yeah, I understand why. But let's figure out what's going on here. Let's go down the rabbit hole. Here we go. Follow the money. All right. The biggest benefactor of public subsidy funds that was not in a statewide race. Look, Senator Aaron Murphy, $14,700. Okay, Aaron, I believe you are a DFLer. Yeah, Aaron is a Democrat. You spent $234,000 on a Senate district. $34,000 on a Senate district. That's amazing. Holy shit, guys. Holy shit. Anyway, so that's a drop in the bucket. 14,000 out of your 240,000. Okay, cool. Representative Muhammad. Or are you Senator? Senator Muhammad. Sorry, I apologize. Here, look. Let's figure out where you're at, right? Yep. Yeah, I'm a nerd. Those are my. Yep. Senator Muhammad, 63. You're a DFLer. Cool. DFL. So, I'm curious what third party candidates are you really worried about collecting public subsidies? I'm going to go through. I'm going to figure it out. And I'm going to say, here are all the third-party candidates that receive public subsidy to make up this $2.3 million that we're trying to save the taxpayers. We have a $17 billion, I'm going to say that again, $17 billion surplus. And the GOP and the DFL, the chair, I'm sorry, I'm not going to call out everybody because I know there are some respectable representatives in this state that want to do the right thing. I'm 100% sure that people are out there, that they got into politics to do the right thing because they need to see something done. They're being controlled by their masters at this point. Ken Martin, I'm calling you out, man. Ken Martin and David Hahn. What's funny is when you have the chairs of the legacy parties together writing memos in support of this bill in conjunction with each other. They both support this. They both support minimizing your ability to choose between candidates that are outside of the two-party system. Guys, like Minnesotans, please. This is driving me insane. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here doing this. I would rather be watching March Madness. I'd rather be watching the college basketball tournament, the NCAA tournament, or to be honest with you, I'd rather be watching soccer. Hey, shout out to the Minnesota United Loons for the win over Colorado Rapids last night. It was an inspiring game. I loved watching it. I felt like, hey, we're on some shaky ground without Reynoso in the lineup, but I have to say, you guys are surprising me every time. I'm happy to see the youth coming into the team and making a positive impact, and yeah, it's fun to watch. So anyway, I digress. back to this. Where am I at? I think I'm rambling on here, and I just want to kind of sum it up and just say, people, please open your eyes. Follow me on TikTok. I'm gonna start producing these videos now that I've got a microphone that works and I understand OBS Studio, and I'm trying to learn these things, and I'd like to start developing a suite of applications so that this information is readily accessible at the drop of a dime within the Libertarian Party, so we can create this kind of watchdog group that we need right now. This is absolutely freaking ridiculous, and I think if people are aware of what's going on, and this is just me, this is my thought process, if people are aware of what's happening with this stuff, then I think there's gotta be some retribution for people for the representatives that are perpetrating this, right? It's fascinating to me. I'd love to talk to Patrick Kulikin and Max Nesterik and just rationalize. Like, I understand there's problems with the electoral system, but this is your articles are being used as evidence to support removing third parties from the ballot, making it harder for third parties to challenge the government. If that's your goal, man, I'm sorry. If that's your goal, and I don't assume it is. I don't think it is. Max, Patrick, I've never met you. And really, you've never met me. You don't know me. So who am I to call you out? But the reality is I'm calling you out because your articles are being used as evidence to support a bill that does not solve the problem. And I'm hoping we can come together, and I'm hoping we can have an honest discussion about what you think the problem is and what you think the solution is. So I'm willing to sit down and talk. I'm willing to have these conversations. I just don't see it. And I'll even tell you, and hopefully you can do your research on this and just say, look, here's what I think the solution is. So I'm going to tell you what my solution is, right? My solution is, hey, Secretary of State Steve Simon, let's have a discussion. Let's talk about making sure that major parties have conventions and elect their candidates through convention, and make sure that the body of those organizations, those parties, are representative of the people within the party, right? We do this in the Libertarian Party. We have seasoning requirements. We try to do our due diligence on making sure that the people that are voting for our candidates are actual members of the party, participating members of the party. It's been big contention in the Libertarian Party. We understand, like, hey, we're growing too. We're actively growing. And so in order to be good stewards of the people that were, like, the candidates that we're putting in place, we're starting to define the process. And we've been doing it for a couple years now. And so we've defined the process to say that we have seasoning requirements. If you come to convention, you have to be at least a dues paying member of the party to be able to vote in our party elections. Now, when that comes to, if we ever get major party status, which I'm hopeful for, when it comes down to that, we'll have the things in place to regulate ourselves, to basically be able to say, look, we're regulating ourselves. Here's the documentation. Here's all of the information that is required to make sure that our candidates are viable candidates, and that they actually represent us as libertarians. We don't do that very cavalier, all right? it's actually a really big discussion. We vet our candidates. We try to make sure that we're running the right candidates with the right voice, with the right backgrounds, and look, they've got to align with our political philosophy. These things are happening, man. These things are happening. I know you don't see it. I know you don't see it. But you've got a lot of people that are disenfranchised because of the things that are coming out, because of the polarization in the state right now, and the optics of it, right? The optics that are being perpetrated by the Minnesota reformer, saying that, oh, this is a potential problem. And I'm not saying it's not. What I'm saying is that, hey, we've got to make sure that the political parties that we're operating under are operating with in good faith, right? Is that such a radical idea? And if it is, let me know. If it is, hey, you don't trust us, fine. All right, I get it. But here's the problem. We've brought this to the attention of our representatives. We've brought the evidence forward, and we're saying, look, there's alternatives to this. There's alternatives. There's ways to solve the problem. There's ways to solve this problem, and it's not through raising the major party threshold. All you're doing by not listening to the evidence is you're saying, we don't care, we need to maintain the two-party system because that is what our donors want. And I know it's political rhetoric. I understand. But it's only rhetoric if it's not true. So let's have a conversation. Let's talk about what the truth is. And hopefully we can come to an understanding of why this is happening. Long video. I know. But I hope it comes to the light. So, if you're with me, you're with me. If you're not, you're not. I understand. I'm just hoping that, that we can build something here. So, let's do it. Take care. Sequel Corman on Twitter. I think Doc Cooch. We can talk about my nicknames. But at a later date, hopefully, hopefully we start doing lives and we get more people on and talk about what's happening in the state, and we can go into my history, and we can go into what I do and how I do it and all that stuff. This right now isn't the time. Right now is the time that we have an omnibus elections package going into the Minnesota legislature, and this could be a piece of it that gets passed under the radar and would be completely destructive to the state of politics in Minnesota if it were to pass. So I'm trying my damnedest to get it out there. I'm trying to get people aware of what's happening. Please like and share. I'll try to create more short form content to highlight on TikTok or anything like that. But I'm so beside myself with this stuff. And it's funny, my friends, Mason has told me we sat in the Senate election or the House Elections Committee, and I couldn't keep my mouth shut. And I apologize for my outbursts. I know some people will say you shouldn't have to apologize for your outbursts, and these people work for us, and realistically they do. But their ears are shut down, man. Their ears are closed. They're not listening to reason. So sometimes we have to raise a little hell. Sometimes we have to show them that we're pissed off. Sometimes we have to say, look, you guys are legislating us into oblivion. And there's got to be some recourse without a revolution. I don't want that to happen. That's historically what's happened. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen. I'm saying historically, when things get out of balance, and when the elected representatives do not listen to their constituents, that's when revolution happens. Look what's going on in France. Look what's going on in France. Everybody who sits there and says, "Oh, we're in an evolved timeline. We're in a post." I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about right now, but the revolutions happen, man. Revolutions happen. And if they continue not listening to us about what we're saying, I'm fearful. I'm fearful for my kids. I'm fearful for the residents in the state of Minnesota, and I'm fearful for my neighbors. We're going to need to band together, and somebody's going to have to stand up and say no. And if that's, I don't want to be that person, but I will if I have to. So let's all just calm down, have a rational conversation, and try to get things moving. And that's all I ask for. Thanks for listening. Follow the channel. Like, subscribe, blah. I don't even know how all that works. So I just hear people say it on YouTube, and I'm going to say it. Like, subscribe, share. Peace. Live free.